Hello there, my name is Susie. If someone had told me a year ago that I would have to fake a pregnancy, I would have laughed hysterically. But desperate times call for desperate measures. When we were 7 years old, me and my best friend Nora bought best friends bracelets, and we swore to never lie to each other or let a guy ruin our friendship. We grew up in a small town, but we had big dreams. After school, we applied and got accepted to college and moved there together. We studied and worked to save money for an epic 4-week trip through Asia that we had scheduled for the summer holidays. After a while, I met Tom, a handsome and self-confident guy from our college. You know, one of those golden boys from a rich family who's used to getting everything they want? Well, he got me. But he seemed nice and became my boyfriend pretty quickly. He even brought me home to meet his parents. His mother looked like an elegant vampire with royal roots, but we got along well. As the summer holidays approached, I introduced Tom to Nora and suggested that we all go on the Asian vacation together. I was afraid that Nora would be jealous and reject this idea because she didn't have a boyfriend then. But she agreed suspiciously easily. Such a relief. In addition, Tom had a lot more money than we did, and he promised to cover our accommodations and any other necessary costs. His contribution was definitely going to make our adventure even more exciting and classy. So when the time came, we boarded a flight to Bangkok. It was hot and dirty, but it was my first time abroad, and I enjoyed this exotic place. During the first 3 weeks there, we moved around a lot and visited Malaysia, Laos, and Cambodia. As for the last week, we decided to spend it in a bungalow near a beautiful beach on Samui. We explored the island on motorbikes and went to some great parties almost every night. When any guy tried to flirt with Nora, Tom acted like her angry older brother. He protected both of us. But then I started to notice something strange. Nora and Tom whispered behind my back, like they had some sort of secret. Of course, my birthday was coming up in a few days. They must have been whispering to prepare a surprise for me. Yeah, of course. The next day, I decided to play a trick. I faked food poisoning and told them to go to a party without me. When they left, I followed them. And guess what? Instead of buying a birthday gift for me, they went to a deserted beach to swim naked together. And well, it was the most painful moment of my life. As I was hiding behind a palm tree and watching my boyfriend kiss Nora under the moon, I went through various revenge plans in my head. My first idea was to set the bungalow on fire with all of our stuff and documents. But then I calmed down. I silently returned to the bungalow, packed my bags, booked a flight home, and left. I was so hurt that I couldn't even think clearly. I just wanted to tear them apart. On my way home, I received billions of text messages and calls from Tom and Nora, but I ignored them all. When I realized that they could possibly try to reach out to my parents, I sent them a message saying, I need to be alone. But instead of feeling guilty and continuing to talk to me, those two jerks just continued their honeymoon without me. I know this because they posted their happy travel photos, as if nothing had happened. Happy birthday to me. After my arrival back home, I went to see a doctor to try to figure out why there was such a big delay in my periods. The ultrasound detected that I was not pregnant. It was just a common issue due to stress. While I was waiting in the waiting room at the doctor, watching all these happy couples, Nora posted a picture with Tom from some waterfalls. It pissed me off. That's when I got a brilliant idea. If I tell Tom that I'm pregnant, he will have to get rid of that betrayer and take me back. And his classy mom would never let him stir up a scandal like this. Genius. I didn't even think much about how I would get rid of a non-existent child later. Let the chips fall where they may, as they say. At home, I used Photoshop, Google Images, and my ultrasound picture as an example to create a fake picture of my 9-week-old baby. Creepy, I know. But Nora had broken the oath. They deserved this. Later, I went to a random print shop and met the manager, Derek. He helped me choose the right paper for printing and looked at me very suspiciously. Derek was pretty hot, I have to say. I lied to him and said that the picture was going to be part of some props for my student movie. He smiled, and I just melted. Tom had never looked at me that way. I wanted to ask for his number, but I hesitated. First things first, I wanted to complete my revenge plan. So anyways, in 3 days, Tom and Nora returned from Asia. I invited them to a dinner to explain myself. I pretended to not know about their affair, but instead just hugged Tom, showed them the picture, and explained my sudden disappearance from the island as being because of my pregnancy. I lied and said that I got scared of the responsibility. Nora tried to hide her tears. She found some random excuse to leave the restaurant and ran off. Tom wanted to follow her, but I pretended to feel dizzy and he had to stay with me and drive me home. Tom was completely paralyzed by the news. I enjoyed every second of his confusion like a true sadist. Later that night, I texted Nora to ask her about her strange behavior just to make fun of her, but she didn't even answer. Meanwhile, I received a friend request from Derek. It was easy for him to find me because my full name was written on the fake baby picture. I was so overwhelmed by the dinner, I just needed to relax and detach. So I agreed to go on a date with Derek. Surprisingly, it went well. He was very cute and smart. He took me to the movies and then we took a long walk. He asked me again about the pregnancy photo, but I was too ashamed, so I just made a joke. Our date was interrupted by a call from my mom. My folks and Nora's folks are neighbors and friends, and, of course, Nora told her parents about my pregnancy. My mom was yelling at me, so I hung up and explained to Derek that my mother was out of her mind. We had a long goodbye kiss, and I realized that I had met someone really special. After a couple days, Tom invited me to come to his parents' house. He left me alone with his mom. She looked at me very strictly and asked me to show her the baby picture. She stared at the picture for a while and then threw it on the table and asked how much money I wanted in exchange for getting rid of my baby and leaving her son alone forever. I felt offended, even though I wasn't pregnant. She handed me a check for $15,000 and suggested that I think about her offer, because their family wasn't going to let me live happily ever after with this baby anyway. She said, "Consider this my birthday gift to you." Now I know why Tom is such a jerk. It's a family tradition. But on the other hand, $15,000. I was very scared, so I just promised to think about it and left. After leaving that house of horror, I decided to go directly to Derek. He didn't mind. We listened to his favorite bands and had a great night together. I could not believe my happiness. By the morning, I regretted getting involved in this crazy pregnancy fraud. I obviously needed to come up with some conclusion as soon as possible. I ignored my parents, held on to this seductive check, lied to Nora, Tom, and the man of my dreams. First things first, I went to a bank and cashed my birthday present. I've never held so much money in my hands before. Then I went to the post office and sent Nora an envelope with my friendship bracelet saying, "I don't need this anymore." I warned my parents and Tom that I was going to a clinic to have a surgery. My parents got very upset, but I told them that it was my life and my decision. Then I booked a luxury room at a spa hotel in a nearby town. I visited Derek in his office with donuts and an invitation to take a few days off to spend some time together and treat ourselves. It was the perfect way to hide from those who thought I was pregnant. I promised to cover all the costs. I lied and said that the trip was a birthday gift from my colleagues. Derek was excited to come with me. We arrived at the hotel and the room was beautiful. Derek drove the whole way and got tired, so he went to take a nap. And I went to get my coconut massage and pedicure. I deserved that after all my struggles. As I was lying on a table wrapped in a roll with essential oils, suddenly I remembered that I had left my phone in the room. When my spa treatment was finally finished, I ran back to the room in a bathrobe like a crazy person. I had a sneaking feeling, and it's no wonder. Derek was sitting on the sofa and staring at me with a serious look on his face. He had been looking for an aspirin in my bag because he had a terrible headache and noticed my phone with a few messages from Nora. The top message said, "I'm sorry for your baby." I gave up and told him the whole truth. I was hoping he would understand me, but he just started to pack his bags, saying that I was crazy. I cried and tried to explain that I really liked him, but he decided that I was a scammer and that he was just a new victim. Derek left me alone. I decided to follow my initial plan and pretend to be in the hospital. I visited the spa, enjoyed the surrounding nature, waiting for the full 5 days of my imprisonment to expire. My heart was broken even more than on the night when I saw Nora and Tom at the beach. So the most strange summer vacation of my life was now behind me, and it was now back to my studies. Derek still wouldn't talk to me. Meanwhile, Tom and Nora are now officially together, and I still don't talk to them. But at least now I don't hang out with betrayers, and I have some cash as compensation for my suffering.